Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Can You Survive? Tides of War. I am out here on the challenge field. You can see all of our lovely volunteers behind me. They are getting set and ready to assist in this next challenge. It should be spicy, and I'm excited for y'all to find out what the players are about to do. The players have been briefed. They are currently maxing and relaxing in the shade before coming on out to the challenge field and competing. And speaking of competing, here is our host Cam to tell us what they'll be doing.
Sure. So we're going to be playing a bit of sabotage here. Each player is going to start with 10 hit points. The players are then tasked with running out into the field to collect either a 1-point ball, a 2-point ball, or a 3-point ball. The 2-point ball and the 3-point balls are further than the 1-point ball. They're going to then balance that ball on a long pole, bring it all the way back up to our scoreboard here, where each player will have a bucket. They're going to choose to drop that ball in someone's bucket, hitting them for that amount of points. When a player is out of their 10 points, they are out of this challenge. The last player alive wins immunity.
Wow, all right. So, as usual, a lot of pieces to this challenge, and it'll be interesting to see
All right.
what transpires.
You've all been briefed on what we're doing, but you want to know what you're playing for? Yeah. Immunity is up for grabs. Individual immunity. A little more fashion for you all.
Let's see. Ooh, check it out with that little oar for the Tides of War.
A little jingle jangle
We
here.
love to see it.
All right, I'll leave it hanging here as a little bit of a representation for you as we work through this challenge. Okay. Any final questions before we get started? As a reminder, 1, 2, and 3. As soon as you lose your 10 hit points, you are dropped. I'll tell you to leave the challenge over to the left, okay? Survivors ready? Go!
All right.
Everyone, cautiously walking out.
Just walking, trotting
You are planning to stop at that first bucket. Ale, Kevin, Molly, stopping
For those of you just joining us, players now starting their very first individual immunity challenge of this game. Players have now merged, and we have changed to an individual portion, no longer tribal. Looks like Cam has secured a ball and looks backwards, does not keep his eye on the prize and drops. Molly and Dylan now looking at the sky. Ale as well goes super fast and drops. Dylan looking like he might want that to be a piece of popcorn that falls into his mouth as he gets to the challenge field. I can't help it, I got jokes. All right, looking like Ty with a one-arm strategy. It drops, Meg drops. Dylan out in front might be the very first person back. Players are approaching this table. Dylan stopping to assess, doesn't want to drop the ball in his own bucket. Now making the approach and loses it. Molly scared, Dan scared. People kind of pausing and now maybe making their way up. Cam, Dan, and Molly have made it to this table, but Dan drops out.
Still no one with the first hit.
Cam now taking a knee.
Ty
just misses. As with every challenge, there seems to be a learning curve here.
Waiting, Louie. A long walk for Louie and drops at the last minute.
Molly now doing the kneel strategy as well.
Trying to get closer to these buckets. Alicia can't make it, has to go back. Molly just
overshoots. Meg now undershoots, and Zoe accidentally plops the ball off. Will Kevin R get it? No, he does not. Still looking for our first player to make contact. Drew
dropping with another 2.
Y'all, this looks hard.
Coming back. Catches it before it fully drops, but it still counts.
All right. Ty now keeping his eye on the ball. This is where he lost it last time. Dan now already back.
first person to figure out this
Ale
transition of
drops
the
it.
bucket is going to be huge here.
Players now pausing, collecting themselves before they step up to it. And Dan in and out.
Rims out.
Much like that
Let's see
pool
what Ty
challenge
can
we
do.
saw
Ty can't
yesterday.
get anything going. Louis back. This time it looks like with a 2 maybe. It's a 3 again from Louis.
This is where I have to.
Louis super close to his own bucket. That's a bold strat. Dylan and Alicia now coming up again.
Dylan with a 1.
Dylan maneuvering his way towards the right side of our challenge field, looking to maybe aim for
Cam with a 1.
the ground. Successful. Louis' wall. Cam now pausing, letting Dylan clear out of the way before he approaches. Has a fumble and a save. Molly looking a little wobbly, but recovers nicely. And Ale approaching as well. Cam now overshooting the tie bucket. Molly undershooting. So far, not a single success. Kevin boldly looking backwards and somehow not losing his ball, doing it again just for show. And
Meg here with a 2.
Misses it.
I can't tell if they're purposely missing at this point.
Meg now concentrating, kneeling down, making several adjustments, and Dan kind of launching it. Neither strategy worked for them.
Dylan here now.
Ale with a scare as Meg turns over.
Ale misses.
Dylan now up here again.
Dylan with the first hit on Alicia. That is 1 point.
And Alicia, will she answer back?
Alicia
so
just
close.
misses, hitting Dylan back with a 3. Zoe just misses, going after Kevin.
Cam now approaching again.
That's all good. I'm just,
And a little shaky, and the ball drops. Kevin back, making his potential first attempt and misses.
Sorry, Kevin not making it.
Louis approaching the table.
Here, back with another 3.
Along with Molly.
Louis having no problem walking the course with these 3.
And Molly near miss.
Just drops off the rim.
All right, so for those just joining us, wanting to know what are these players doing, this is the first.
And Louis with a big hit, a 3 on Dan. That is a huge attack there.
So this is the first individual immunity challenge of the game. Players have these poles and are aiming towards this field to gather some balls from these buckets. The further out they go, the larger point amount that their ball is worth. First bucket here, we can see an aqua worth 1 point. Balls in the red bucket in the distance, 2 points. And in the very, very far blue bucket are 3. Players will then grab one of those balls, balance it on their pole, have to come all the way back up this grassy course, up this rock scramble, and across this challenge field. They are then aiming the balls on top of their poles into different players' buckets. The idea is these are hits that they are doing on the other players. Every player starting out with a total of 10 hit points, and as balls land in their buckets, those points will be depleted. We can see that Dan has been depleted to 7 points, which means he has a 3 ball in his bucket. Everyone else still looking high. The last player to still have hit points in this game will be the winner of the first individual immunity challenge.
Dylan taking a shot at Ty if he can land the 3. Oh, almost got it.
Dylan almost getting it. Louis and Alicia up next with their balls. Louis looking very concentrated here as he takes a knee. Trying to figure out just short. Got to be so frustrating to make it all the way across the course and come up shy. Ale and Drew now approaching this table.
Looks like she's going after Alicia.
Ale misses. Drew misses. Meg M on the approach.
Back with a 3.
Super near her own bucket.
more people are feeling confident with the threes.
Just misses
rimmed
Louis'
off with the
bucket.
bounce. Feels like everyone's got the hang of walking.
Zoe now approaching this challenge field slowly and steadily, making her way up
Here
this
with a
rock
2.
scramble.
Zoe back with a 3. Dylan quickly back with a 3. No problem walking with these.
Dan now on the challenge field, along with Kevin R., Zoe, and Dylan, who we have seen several times up on this challenge course. We're about to have a huge group of players as Ale, Alicia, and Cam looking to join. Zoe takes the approach, calmly kneeling down, and gets a bounce shot.
Kevin with a 3 hit there from Zoe, down to 7 points.
Kevin missing and heading back out. Cam and Dan. Dan makes it look easy, gets Louis. Perhaps answering back. Don't really remember.
Kevin and Louis.
Molly loses her ball. Drew now up on this course and largely by herself. All players now back on the challenge course.
To figure this out. We just had 3 hits on that cycle.
Ale moving quickly.
Ale here.
With
Louis
his
back.
hand at the very top of where he's allowed to have it.
Louis looking like they have a 3 and either drop it.
Falls
sorry,
just short.
Ale coming up just short. Louis now
coming up again.
Going after Kevin, it seems like. Doesn't get it on the bounce.
Does not get it. Ty drops.
Ty drops. I don't know if I've seen Ty actually try to get here. Ty might be the only one.
Kevin
just
dropping.
Once. Ty having the most difficulty on the grass part of the course. Meg has been here a lot. I don't know if Meg has been able to land one. Oh, just short for Meg. Well short for Alicia. Molly back up. Molly looking at that first table. Changes her mind. Cameron here has been trying to hit Ty for hours, it seems like.
Molly drops.
And another one
Drew
falls
with
just
another
short. Drew hits Alicia for a 3, knocking Alicia down to 6. Alicia now with the lowest hit points remaining. Dan bounces off Louis' bucket.
Dylan with a little back and forth here.
Where they were going for.
Ale waiting his turn and now approaches. Dylan just short again. Ale winding up.
Ale seemed to have it figured out a little bit earlier. All right.
Louis looking determined, coming back out here. Kevin R. and Ty and Alicia now atop the rock scramble.
Ty looking to come back just for their second drop attempt. And Louis hits Dylan, knocking Dylan down to 7 with a 3. Alicia just misses with another 3. Could have been back-to-back hits there. Ty looking to go for their second ever drop. There's a learning curve here. Hasn't had much to learn from.
All right.
That's my job. Ty, a little too far.
Meg and Cam now heading up this rock scramble. With Dylan not far behind.
Cam here. It was pretty close. Dan might have figured something out. Kind of threw it at the table. Dylan rimmed off.
Oh, would love that.
Dan just misses Alicia's bucket. Meg M now winding up. Molly seeing that there are some 10s on this side of the challenge and gonna try and chip away at some points. Narrowly misses Ty.
Knocking Dan down to 4, I believe. Dan now with the lowest score. Ale also going after Dan.
No, I'm not.
Never mind. Hard to tell who he's going for. Louis analyzing the board before making his decision. Evan with a miss. Louis going after Molly, who's still at 10. Dylan making a drop attempt. Just
Overshooting.
Alicia's
So far.
bucket. Cam almost got it with the bounce. Louie overshot it. Zoe back up here.
All right, and let's check in. We have our lovely volunteers who are scorekeepers. You will recognize all their faces
Zoe,
as past contestants
very
of Can You
patient.
Survive? We've got Kyle,
Who is she going after?
Ned, Patrick,
Doesn't seem to know
Declan,
yet.
Barry, Patrick again,
Molly coming back.
Albie, Michael, Kira, Kendall,
Ale,
Nina,
no problem,
and
Teddy.
Rayhan. It's fine. I got it.
Alicia, one of the lower scorers on the board, needs to start taking the offensive here.
And Alicia drops her ball.
Molly making their attempt. Ale drops here. Oh, right off the edge of the table.
Oh, Dylan now up the rock scramble. Possibly
Dylan
has had the
coming back.
most time up here on the challenge field and most attempts at dropping a ball in a bucket.
Dylan just
And
short
yet
of
another
Alicia.
miss.
Meg, pensive. Letting Louie take the lead here.
And Louis
Louie
connects.
with another drop. Is that a 1 against Molly? It looks like.
Ale
Meg,
announcing
still
his
reviewing the
position to
table.
Meg.
Ale politely walking in front of Meg. Molly down to 9, I believe, with that hit. Dan, who's got the lowest score left, trying to even things out, just bounces off of Meg's cup. Cam getting closer and closer. Meg trying to make the drop. She's down. Alicia just misses Dylan.
Ty now making it possibly farther into this challenge course than he has so far.
Ty's made 2 drops. This will be his third.
Okay.
Neither of them have hit very close. See if he's learned anything.
Oh, and
third
gets
time's the
it.
charm for Ty.
Hits
Little
Dylan.
pep back into his step on that one. Dylan gets hit for 3. Down to 4. Tied with Dan for the lowest score. Molly back at it. Zoe back at it. Dylan trying to go for Ty. Just misses.
Zoe now approaching the right side of the challenge
Zoe
course,
getting all the numbers
changes
in her
her
head.
mind and heads on over to the left side.
Louie might have had the most attempts at this board so far.
Can Cam finally connect with this tie bucket? He's tried so many times and yet cannot.
Damn, seeming to be on the
Louis
edge of his
just
wits.
shy
Out
of
the way, sorry.
Dan's bucket. Alicia now.
Alicia back with a 3. Ale back with a 1.
So
Different
close to
strategies.
tie.
Ale has been going 1.
Alice drops on his head and tumbles to the ground. Meanwhile,
Can
Kevin
get this
R.
one to drop? Just a little too far.
and
Dan,
Dan
just a little
attempts.
too
All right,
short.
let's do a score check. We've got Ty and Drew with a full 10 points still. Alicia with 6. Dylan with 4. Cam and Ale with 10. Dan with 4. Zoe with 10. Molly with 9. Louie with 7. Meg with 10. And Kevin with 7. So looking like Dan and Dylan currently are lowest point holders, most vulnerable to be first out of this challenge with 4 points each. Of note, they are also 2 of the players that have had the most attempts to get up on this challenge field.
Going with 1s. Getting back a little quicker.
Cam now missing
I thought that was
again.
1.
Meg lining up with
Meg making a drop.
Cam's bucket. Can't tell. And
Meg
gets it.
successfully hitting.
Dylan miss.
Cam
Louis
for the
now.
first time takes a hit. Down to 7 for Cam. Louis going after Meg.
No, he's not.
Sorry. I'll wait to see.
Gets it.
Louis.
Alicia with a miss. Ale now looking to try and get an attempt here.
Louis hit Meg.
Hits the table, no dice. Cam already back, whipping back and forth across this Challenge just cannot connect. This might not be his game. Dan and Kevin are now approaching the point drop. Dan with another in and out. Kevin with a very slow motion strat and misses. Dylan and Zoe now stepping up. Zoe's ball dropping just short. Dylan making some adjustments, decides he doesn't like that angle, gets up and back down again. Drew right next to him, and Drew's ball drops. Dylan really took his time with that, frustrated that the strategy did not work out. Ale already back again. Let's see if he can connect. So close to Dan's bucket, but no cigar. Molly now leaning down in front of this table. Overshoots the bucket. Some familiar faces back out on this course in Cam and Dylan. Meg now winding up. Again, boldly going right next to her bucket.
An angled entry here.
And drops it into Louie's bucket. Alicia and Ty now stepping up. Alicia just short, but tried a different strat that time. Ty so close to connecting to Cam's bucket.
Doesn't get here often, but when he does, they're close.
I wasn't going to go for you, Louie, but let's go for huh?
Ooh, a face-off. Louie and Dan heading for each other's buckets. Let's see who might be successful.
Cam just going to watch.
Dan watching on as Louie does it. Neither can make the hit shot. Louie now calling for a truce. We'll see if they abide by it. Dylan and Ale now stepping on up.
And Louie for most attempts at buckets.
For those of you joining midway through this challenge, this is the first individual immunity challenge of the game. Players are heading on out to the course where they are gathering either a ball worth 1 point, 2 point, or 3 points. They are then bringing them back, balancing them atop these poles, have to make their way across this grassy course, up the rock scramble, across the challenge field, where they are then faced with a decision. Whose bucket do they drop their ball in? Whose hit points do they bring down? Players that reach 0 hit points no longer have life in this challenge and will be unable to compete further. The last player to still have hit points remaining will win this challenge. A lot going on here. Choices to be made. Skill that has to be in existence.
3 in a row from Meg.
Meg seems to have figured out that skill that's required to get the ball in the bucket. Several other players have yet to connect. Ale now winding up and dropping just short. Louie getting it into Zoe's bucket. Several players have perfect hit points, but a lot have now received at least 1 hit. Dan now super far from the table, did not work, went just short. Ty and Alicia now gearing up.
Still no one eliminated from this challenge. All 12 of you with a chance at immunity.
Alicia just short again. And Ty gets it in Cam's bucket? Yeah.
A 1, I'm sorry. A 1 on Cam, knocking him down to 6. Molly lands a 3 on Drew.
Do we have any 2s? Because I feel like people aren't getting them. Oh, no, it's just 1 and 3?
No, there are 2s.
Oh, but just, oh, okay. Interesting.
Right back at you, she says. Knocking Molly down to 6 with a 3. Big drop there.
Oh, Kevin R with a couple bounces, but does not connect. Ale just short again. Louie and Dylan now back up.
Nope.
It's almost insane.
Dylan. Sanity is doing the same thing over and over.
Ty, Meg, and Alicia up and over this rock scramble, making their way towards this area. Now winding up.
Sitting right in front of Drew or Alicia.
Ty gets it, hits Ale's bucket, taking him down from double digits in 10 to single digits.
Down to 9. Meg has
and
landed
with that,
4 in a row.
I believe everyone has had at least one hit
now
so
down
far.
to 4.
No one at 10 points. Everyone has had at least one ball land in their
Molly
bucket.
coming back. Molly landed there last. And they get on a bit of a run here figuring this out.
All right, as soon as players
Molly
are
just
not
misses
so close,
Ale.
we'll do another score check.
We've got Drew back. Drew took 2 hits recently. She needs to start playing offensively.
Drew just short.
There.
Ale hoping to
Ale
not be short this time.
Bounces right off the edge.
Cam bounces off the edge.
Tough to watch at this point.
Louie and Kevin are
Louie
approaching
back.
again, this time on the other side of the challenge course.
Both getting low. Kevin trying to make the transition. Cannot do it. Alicia trying to make the drop. Alicia short again. Cannot figure out how to get these balls in those buckets. Dylan. One of the best at walking with the ball, it seems.
Yeah, for me that was the second time.
But figured that one out. Connect on Ty, knocking Ty down to 4. Ty now hit again with a 3.
Several players now at the lowest amount of hit points, which is currently 4.
A lot of 4s on the board.
Ty connects with Dylan.
Dylan gets a hit. Dan bounces in, it looks like. Dylan down to 1 point. Meg down to 4.
All right, so Dylan currently with the least amount of hit points.
In a row, this time taking out
1.
Cam gets a hit. How about that?
Finally hits the bucket he's been trying to get all challenge long.
Zoe down to 7. Dan 4. Ty 1.
Molly
Dylan
connecting.
And Ty are both at 1.
A lot of players now finally getting their rhythm and
might see our first
hitting
eliminations
some players.
Here. Molly just got eliminated. No, sorry. She got one in.
Okay.
Hit Kevin for 3. Oh. Zoe gets hit down to 4.
Players heading back up here. Looking like Dylan has the least amount of hit points with just 1.
Here. Dylan, one of the 2, close to being eliminated here.
I don't even know. Meanwhile, looking like the new highest score might be 6. Ty and Dylan both down to 1 point here.
For some reason, trying to do it with a 3, even though Ty only has 1 point. Zoe back.
Lots of players now approaching this challenge course. Looks like almost everyone is close.
Ty on a bit of a run recently.
Ale drops it.
Too excited getting to the table. Dan.
And in and out for Ty.
It has to land in, unfortunately.
Feeling
Ty
slighted by that one.
Cam has figured it out. 2 in a row from Cam, knocking Drew down to 4. No. Alicia, Meg's now at 1. Alicia trying to eliminate Meg. Meg has a chance to drop this then. Meg, 6 in a row, has hit Ale. Down to 1.
All right, so we now have 3 players down to 1 point.
4 players down to 1.
Ty, Drew, Dylan, and now Dan with 1 point as well. These 4 players all at the most risk of being eliminated, along with Meg.
Meg, Dan, Dylan, Drew, Ty, all at 1.
Dylan going for Ty's bucket here. If he connects, Ty will be out of this game, but misses. Dan now heading to the left side of the challenge course.
Appearing to go for Meg. Drew appearing to go for Alicia. Meg has been eliminated from the challenge. Meg, drop. You can stand to the side.
Dan delivering the final blow on Meg's bucket. Meg now out of this challenge. We have Kevin, Ale, and Cam approaching the challenge field. Still lots of possible targets to be immediately knocked out. Kevin not electing to go for any of them. And dropping just short of Molly's bucket.
Alicia misses. Alicia going for a 1. Wouldn't have counted anyways.
Ale and Dylan just short. Louie and Molly now approaching the table.
Going after Cam, it seems. Just misses.
Molly just misses after an adjustment. And let's do a score check. We've got Ty with 1, Drew with 1, Alicia with 6, Dylan with 1, Cam with 6, Ale with 6, Dan with 1, Zoe with 4, Molly with 6, Louie with 4, and Kevin with 4. Dylan now winding up for the tie bucket. Can't make it connect.
Still no eliminations. There have been a few attempts.
Players that are 1 ball away from being eliminated are Dan, Dylan, Drew, and Ty. It will take more than that to eliminate any of the remaining players. Alicia and Kevin are now approaching the table. Dan quickly attempting and missing. Kevin R just watching on. Trying to use that as a learning moment. And Cam connects with Alicia's bucket.
Knocking her down to 3. Drew maybe making.
Drew falling just short.
Louie going after Ale or Cam. No. Ale gets hit with a 3 down to 3.
Ty drops.
Just before the transition.
Dylan drops at the rock scramble. Molly moving on, wants to make her selection intentionally.
Her main competition right now is Molly stands alone.
Molly gets it. Molly now making sure every other player has less hit points than she does. She is well out of range.
Alicia, Drew, and Ty all 1 ball away from elimination.
Ale misses. Dylan back at the tie bucket. Has not connected so far to get this last hit point, but gets it, and Ty giving each other a little sportsman-like hug before Ty leaves the challenge field. He has been eliminated and can no longer continue in this challenge.
And missing. Louie, focus.
Alicia dropping before the rock scramble. Louie, the only player currently anywhere near this table area. And connects with
gets
Molly.
Knocked down by Louie. Now the only players not 1 ball away are Kevin with 4, Louie with 4, and Zoe with 4. Everyone else can be eliminated by just 1 ball, whether it's a 1 or a 3.
And of note, there are also 2-point balls that everyone has seemed to completely ignore in this challenge. I don't know if it's their unlucky number or what, but
Alicia missing.
Molly now approaching the table.
Trying to knock Louie back down a
Getting
peg.
Close to her own bucket. I'm always marveling at that, but looking to drop in Louie and does not connect.
Zoe having to dodge Molly on her run out.
Drew now
and
missing
Dylan
Alicia.
Missing. Zoe going after Louie. We have a line of attempts at Louie, it looks like.
Looks like Zoe, Cam, and Ale now waiting their turn for the Louie bucket.
Zoe, it appears.
Kevin R. now lining up in front of
Cam's going after Molly.
Zoe's bucket.
Kevin going after Zoe. Dan coming here trying to take out Alicia. Could this be the one? It just misses. Ale going after Louie with a 1. Just misses. We are down to 10, but many players are just 1 hit away.
This challenge has gone on a long time, but it is...
Cam hit with a 3 and has been eliminated. Cam is out. Yes, Cam is out. Louis delivering the killing blow. We are down to 9. Multiple players still left with 4.
3 players eliminated from this challenge. 9 still alive.
Dylan can't take the shot at Zoe.
Well, I can.
Molly going after Louis. Just misses. Alicia, I'm not positive, but might be the only player alive that has not landed a ball. All right. No, you got 1, Ale.
Misses from Drew and Alicia.
I'm sure you did earlier.
Kevin R. now
Kevin
approaching. Aiming for perhaps Louie's bucket.
Kevin.
Maybe wanting to make sure that he is left with the most hit points. It connects with Louie.
With a 3, Louis down to 1.
Coming for you, Chloe.
Kevin and Alicia is out as Dan takes the killing blow with a 3.
This is now Dan's second killing blow in this challenge. He has eliminated 2 of the players.
And right back at Kevin as Louis knocks Kevin down to 1. Zoe remains the only player who cannot be killed with 1 ball.
Got a small smile from Zoe about that fact. I'm sure she's loving it.
Dylan going after Zoe, calling his shot.
Dylan taking a shot at Zoe's bucket. Zoe sounding like she's going to respond in kind.
Zoe changed course at that. Doesn't seem to be going for Dylan before, but it is now.
Zoe now winding up. Cannot connect with the bucket.
Molly back with 1. With a 3,
Ale dropping on the rock scramble. These players feeling like they have a sense of what to do and maybe getting a little too comfortable with the approach. Misses.
Drew taking a crack at Zoe. Tall blade of grass gets cut down.
What? Was that a riddle? Kevin just short of Zoe's. Dan
with 1.
now aiming at Zoe and gets it. Every single player now vulnerable.
With just 1 hit, Louis gonna deliver that hit to Zoe right now.
Ale and Dylan pausing to see the outcome of that one before stepping on up.
Ale with 1 point could end Louis' game here. Or challenge, rather. Misses. Different strategy on that one.
Wow, I can't block.
Dylan trying to analyze the board before making their drop.
I don't want to go after Louis. I don't think I can talk.
Doesn't want to go after Louis.
Dylan with a frog in his throat as he attempts the approach.
Can't make a decision. Maybe he has settled for Ale. Ale racing back, but it's eliminated by Dylan.
Dylan connecting with Ale. Ale now out of this challenge. But does Ale knows.
7 players remaining. Zoe eliminate Louis. Bounces near it, but misses.
Drew connects with Molly.
Down to 2 from Drew.
Kevin R. now winding up with this attempt, aiming at Louis. That scared me. Louis attempting a distraction. trying to keep himself alive.
Louis doing anything it takes here. Louis
overshooting Zoe's bucket.
Dan
now stepping up, has had great success
intentions.
eliminating 2 players already and makes it 3.
Zoe eliminated from this challenge. We are down to 6.
Drew avoids elimination
Everyone
at Molly's
one
hand.
hit away in
Dylan
some sort of form.
trying to figure out who he's aiming for. Kevin
Molly
R back up.
left with 2 points. The players do have to
Just
walk
narrowly
a little
misses
further
Louis.
to get Molly out.
Kevin R now winding
Everyone
up to
else,
attempt
it
the
appears, is
same.
at 1 point. Louis
Misses.
stays alive. Drew back with a 3. Could potentially eliminate anyone, but is going after Molly. Just misses.
Short.
Dan back with a 1. Louis back with a 1. And Molly back with a 1. Dan going after Molly to have that point total. And the
Dan connects.
Everyone remaining is at 1 point. Still in, it was a 1.
The next ball in anyone's bucket will
remaining,
knock them out of this challenge.
1 point. Dylan going after Louis. This could be the killing blow.
Louis screaming in the distance. Not sure if it affected it or not, but Dylan misses.
Now back with 1.
All these players hoping that they will remain the person with the last hit point. Kevin R now taking aim at Louis' bucket.
Louis.
And narrowly misses. Molly drops it before she can hit Dan, and Dan now aiming for Molly, getting it for his 4th kill shot of this game.
Down to 5.
Dan is
Drew
like a sniper. Or a, I don't know, sharpshooter? I don't know. The people that aim good.
Sharpshooter.
Dylan going back and forth.
No one else is super close.
Aiming for Drew's. And
Dylan just bounces it
not able to connect. Kevin R and Louis now approaching this rock scramble. Kevin R dropping. Louis determined to be the next person with an attempt at eliminating a player. Heading to the left side of the course here towards his own bucket as well as Kevin's.
Louis looking to drop in Kevin's. They've been going after each other for a
Kevin
few
now
minutes
screaming from the distance.
And Louis is
but
successful.
It is ineffective.
Drew.
Kevin now out of this challenge at Louis' hand.
Louis, Dan, Dylan, or Drew with a chance at immunity. A little bit of breeze here just to make it even harder for you.
All right, all 4 players now only having to go to this 1 ball bucket area. Dylan dropping.
Who gets here first is important.
Louis and Dan now approaching this rock scramble, and up they go. A little mountain climbing action here. Louis approaching Dylan's bucket. Dan aiming for Drew and connecting. That makes kill number 5 for Dan.
I believe that's number 3.
It's number 5.
Number 5 for Dan. Man, with a lot of blood on his
Final
hands.
3.
All right, Dylan now the only one out here on this course.
Dylan ready to take an
and
attempt
aiming
at
towards
life.
Louis. How cute and symmetrical that their buckets are 1 on each table. Just misses. So they now are not in danger of getting their own bucket while aiming for someone else's. Louis now heading on up towards what appears to be Dylan's bucket, hoping to eliminate him from this challenge.
Louis leans over. And hits the
just
rim, but no
misses.
good.
Leaving Dylan now
Dylan
aiming towards
and
Louie's bucket.
Or Dylan and Dan, rather. Back.
Dan falls short of Dylan's bucket. Dylan over Louie's bucket and connects.
Louie has been eliminated. It is a showdown now between Dan
and Dylan, who have had the most kills in this challenge, as well as the most attempts, are fighting it out for immunity. Perhaps the strategy of staying near the one bucket and getting the most attempts at this challenge has paid off. They've had the most practice. It is windy, pressure is on. Dan now hoping to establish a solid base, Dylan as well.
The wind is picking up to make this an exciting finish.
The wind adding to the drama here as both players approach this rock scramble.
Both players tired. This will be a well-earned immunity win for either one. Both coming to the buckets. Dylan a step ahead.
Dylan hoping to close it out quickly. And it's a finish. Dylan hits Dan.
Dylan wins immunity in a guaranteed spot in those final 11. Dylan, stay up here with me. Dylan, congratulations. You're frustrated with me and the challenge, but stuck with it. Dylan has one immunity, cannot be voted for at the next tribal council. Guaranteed 1 in 11 shot at winning this game.
All right, Dylan now wearing that necklace for the first time in this game. First individual immunity winner.
Oh, you can just drop it.
I love Cole.
Cheering from the merge players.
All right, I will see you all soon for our next tribal council. One of you will be
incredible effort by all the players. This lasted a long time and they did not give up. This challenge was spicy. Can't wait to see if it's going to affect how the votes go because they had to take aim at each other. All right, friends, we will be back in about, let's see, I'm going to guess 30 minutes. I'm going to roughly guess 30 minutes to be back live again. Sean is saying this challenge really puts the can you in Can You Survive? And indeed, many players could not. All right, y'all, we are going to break so that the players can chat with each other about this upcoming challenge. And we will be back in maybe about 30 minutes with all the tribal and tea. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.